Okay, so we're gonna watch Jodi Hildebrandt's sentencing. Spoiler alert. I mean, this was like 8 days ago, but she did end up getting sentenced and sent to prison, of course. If you don't know, this is a child abuse case where she and her accomplice, Ruby Frankie, a YouTube mom who has a family channel, they were abusing the children. Lovely. And Jodi here is a therapist, a licensed therapist. Well, not anymore. She was a licensed therapist, so it's really vile. But yes, they are going to prison. It's very nice. I want to see her sentencing. It's going to be good.
Recalls the matter of State of Utah versus Hildebrandt, case 231501763. Counsel are present. Ms. Hildebrandt is present. Counsel, there is a pre-sentence investigation report. I have read it. Everyone has seen and reviewed that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, the sentence was stipulated at the time of the plea agreement.
This is so sad, but I mean, a good time
do we
that
need to
she's
make
in prison.
other than going forward with sentencing?
Your Honor, it would be repetitive. I had the same statement, just with the last few paragraphs where I was differentiating.
She looks stressed.
Okay, let's talk about housekeeping matters first. What about restitution?
We've stipulated to keep that open for 8 months.
It is appropriate, Your Honor, since we don't have any evidence with respect to restitution, and that's because it is still in the process of being gathered by the county attorney's office. It's completely appropriate for the court to make no orders with respect to restitution, other than to reserve all issues regarding restitution, and we have no issue with the eight-month time frame.
And the injunction that was previously issued by the court will remain in effect?
It will.
At least until that time?
It will remain in effect until further order of this court.
All right.
Okay,
Mr. Clark?
just like,
Thanks, Your Honor. The state of Utah respectfully requests that the court sentence Ms. Hildebrandt to consecutive prison terms for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse.
oh, 4
to which
counts,
she has
okay.
pleaded guilty. The sentence was agreed to her.
And she
in
did
her
plead
plea agreement
guilty.
And is also recommended by adult probation and parole. Ms. Hildebrandt committed awful acts of child abuse. From May to August 2023, she and her...
Okay, they're saying this specific crime, but apparently she's just been an abusive loser forever. Like, I believe it's her child or her niece or something like that. She came out and said that she was terrorized as a child too. So, I mean, this woman is just vile.
Her business partner held 2 children, ages 9 and 11, turning 12, in a concentration camp-like setting in her house in Ivan City.
Horrible.
The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were isolated from others.
Like, that's literally all kids need. What is the point of having them? What is the point?
When people came to visit the house, they were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down stairs and doing wall sits or sitting against a wall without assistance of a chair or stool for hours at a time. They were forced to do manual labor outdoors.
There's a whole
in the
list.
extreme summer heat,
It's horrible.
often without shoes or socks. They were also forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days.
Look at her
They were
face.
beaten, and the 12-year-old was regularly bound hand and foot after he attempted to run away in mid-July. Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization to treat. The injuries from the binding are particularly bad. In addition to the physical abuse, the children were emotionally abused.
I haven't seen any pictures of the injuries, but I mean, I'll take their word for it. It can't be good, right?
They each believed to some degree that they deserved what was being done to them. Had the older of the 2 children not had the courage to run away and ask a neighbor to call the police,
Yes,
heaven only knows how much longer he could have survived.
they could have
After being
died.
caught, Ms. Hildebrandt has shown little to no remorse for her actions. In telephone conversations that will be provided in full to the Board of Pardons and Parole, and which she knew to be recorded, she's repeatedly claimed that she is the victim and the children are the perpetrators. She has gone so far as to say...
So did Ruby.
that
She
the
tried
things
to do
said in
that
this
too.
proceeding and covered by the media today will be full of lies. The combination of three factors make Ms. Hildebrandt a significant threat to the community. First, the severity of the abuse she caused to be inflicted on young children. Second, her attitude that everything she did was justified and that she is being wrongfully imprisoned.
That's
And
a
third,
scary mindset.
her training as a therapist and aptitude for using online resources to convince others to follow her guidance.
I cannot believe that she's a therapist and also did this. But there are times when she could just be, I mean, there are times when people could have that situation. Like if she's a psychopath or a sociopath, you know, it's, that makes more sense. Otherwise, why else would she become a therapist? I think she became a therapist to know how to control people.
Utah Code Section
An abusive therapist, really?
3401 lays out three factors the court should consider in determining whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences.
Just my
The
opinion,
first is the
knowing
gravity
nothing
and
about it.
circumstances of the offense. The second is the number of victims, and the third is the history, character, and rehabilitative need of the defendant. As agreed to in the plea agreement and as recommended by adult probation and parole, consecutive sentences are appropriate here. This is due to the severity of the abuse to the two victims and the extreme need for Ms. Hildebrandt to be rehabilitated so that she no longer will present a risk to the community. The state respectfully requests that she be sentenced to 4 consecutive
I don't know if she
terms.
can be.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Terry?
I am not an expert.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It just
I
doesn't seem
will be
she's going to
brief.
grow a heart.
As is always the case in cases that come before courts, there are two sides to every case. And as
This poor lawyer, like, I know he's not a poor lawyer. I'm feeling bad for him. I know that he did take the job. Obviously, she has to have some kind of lawyer, but I bet he doesn't expect any of this to go well.
and even in a case like this, that remains the case.
Well, she did plead guilty.
There
So.
are many, many allegations regarding these two individuals, Ms. Frankie and my client, Ms. Hildebrandt. The only facts in this case that are adjudicated facts are those set forth in the plea agreement that she entered into freely and knowingly and voluntarily. Those facts, those adjudicated facts, are significant. They certainly provide a basis for the pleas and provide a basis for the stipulated sentence in this case. My experience with Ms. Hildebrandt is that she is not the person that she has been portrayed to be.
I love it.
But having said that,
Yeah, okay.
she has accepted responsibility in this case. She has entered into this plea agreement with a stipulated sentence of 4 consecutive sentences. She did that
Consecutive.
at the time she entered into the plea agreement, knowing that that would be the court's order.
She'll be gone a long time.
She's before the court today, knowing that
I
that will
hope.
be the court's order, and she fully accepts that. She accepts responsibility, and she accepts the consequences for her conduct. And we will submit it to the court on the stipulated agreement.
Mr. Terry, you suggested that there are two sides to every case. I generally agree with you. Ms.
Getting called
Hildebrandt
out.
didn't make a statement to AP&P in the course of the pre-sentence investigation report.
Correct.
Why did she not make a statement?
She wanted to reserve her right to make a statement before the court today, and she has a brief statement that she wants to read, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Ms. Hildebrandt?
It's so funny how this is supposed to make a difference.
I sincerely love these children.
God, here we go.
I
Already,
desire
put
for
her
them
away.
To heal physically and emotionally.
Lady.
One of the reasons I did not go to trial is that I did not want them to emotionally relive the experience which would have been detrimental to them. My
Then
hope
why'd
and
you do
prayer
it?
is that they will heal and move forward to have beautiful lives. I am willing to submit to what the state feels would be an appropriate amount of time served to make retribution as an outcome.
And in answer to your question, Your Honor, I knew that whatever she might say to the author of the pre-sentence report would probably sound hollow and self-serving, and perhaps it does today. But I know that my client, in the statement that she makes to the court today, that statement is absolutely sincere.
Right.
How
nice.
Hildebrandt recognize that it's her behavior that caused the harm to the children that she's referred to in her statement?
Your Honor, she recognizes that she was, along with Miss Frankie, that she made decisions with respect to the discipline of those children that were wrong, that caused harm to those children. She fully recognizes that and accepts responsibility for that.
All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Hildebrandt, this circumstance is tragic. It's largely, of course, of your making. By any measure, your conduct in this case was disastrous for these children. Adults are supposed to protect children. Adults with specialized training in particular are supposed to protect children. You didn't do that in this case. In this case, you terrorized children.
You sought out children to terrorize. That's
tragic.
what you did.
It's what happened to these children and your philosophy in dealing with them frankly seems detached from reality or any objective standard of decency or even common sense. And the court finds that it is appropriate that you serve a prison sentence.
He called her
Finds under
stupid.
the statute, Utah Code 76-3-401, that given the gravity and circumstances of the offenses, the number of victims, and the history and character and needs of the defendant, that consecutive sentences
He's
are
about
appropriate.
to slam that book.
The court imposes 4 1 to 15-year sentences to be again served consecutively for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. The last thing I do need to tell you is that you only have 30 days to file or perfect an appeal of any error of the court by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the court. If you don't do that, you will lose your right to appeal. That has to be filed in writing and again within 30 days. You also have the right to the assistance of an attorney and to have an attorney appointed if you cannot afford to hire your own.
Okay.
Thank you. We're in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Your Honor.
This is to be again served contended that consecutive sentences are appropriate. The court imposes 4 1 to 15-year sentences.
4 1 to 15-year sentences. Okay, so since they've done this, I'm guessing they have to go to appeals if there is an appeal, and then they'll finally get the actual amounts, I think.
To be again served consecutively for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. The last thing I do need to tell you is that you only have 30 days.
Okay. She didn't want it to go to court. One of the comments said because there would have been others who would have come forward, like her niece, which is completely true. It's a great point. Really happy that she won't be coming out anytime soon. The max is 15 years for 4 counts. That's 60 years. I doubt she'll get that, but it would be great. We don't need this person. This person has caused enough damage. We don't need her. She could just stay in there. It's all good. Okay, so 1 to 15 years, 4 charges or 4 counts consecutively. So that's minimum 4 years. It's not that long. If they give her 4 years, that sucks. So apparently it's up to the parole board and what they decide. So who knows? It could just be 4 years. Guys, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, at least she's being completely called out. I don't think she'll ever be able to do this kind of thing again. So even if she's out, because it's such a highly publicized story. Yeah, that's Jodi. And in the next video, we're going to go over Ruby's sentencing. So if you like this video, I'll leave it in the description for you. Leave a like, and I will see you in the next one.